You know how fruit trees keep feeding you year after year without you lifting a finger? Well, here's a little secret most gardeners don't realize. Some vegetables do the exact same thing. No resowing, no fuss. You plant them once, and they just keep giving. Today, we're walking through 20 incredible vegetables that grow like fruit trees. Plant them once, harvest for years, and watch your garden turn into a living pantry. Welcome back to the channel, where we make gardening simple, productive, and honestly, a lot more fun. If you're new here, pull up a chair. We talk plants that feed you, not drain you. When I first heard about perennial vegetables, I thought people were exaggerating. But then my asparagus patch came back the next spring, taller, stronger, even after I forgot to water it for weeks. That's when I realized these plants are garden gold. So today, I'll show you 20 of these time-saving, money-saving veggies. By the end, you'll know which ones to start with, and I'll share a short bonus list for anyone gardening in tougher climates. Grab a drink because this one's packed. Before we dive in, if you love learning simple ways to grow more food with less effort, hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on the little bell, too. That way you'll get a nudge each week when I post new garden tricks. All right, ready? Let's dig into what makes these plants so special. Here's the quick rundown. Most vegetables, like tomatoes, cucumbers, or peppers, are annuals. You plant them, they produce, they die, and you start all over again next season. But perennials? They're the long-term tenants of your garden. Once they settle in, they pop back every year without replanting. They behave a lot like fruit trees. Deep roots, strong crowns, and a rhythm that matches the seasons. The best part? Less digging, less spending, more harvest. They're basically the lazy gardener's dream, and trust me, we all deserve a bit of lazy now and then. So now that you know what makes them special, let's meet the 20 veggies that'll turn your backyard into a self-replenishing buffet. All right, let's start with one of my favorites, the leafy perennials. These are the greens that never stop giving. You'll harvest them over and over, just like your favorite herbs. And the best part? Most of them thrive even when you forget about them for a bit. First up, Chaya, often called tree spinach. This beauty can grow taller than you if it's happy. It's loaded with protein and iron, making it a powerful substitute for regular spinach. The leaves need a quick boil before eating, but once cooked, they taste mild, nutty, and rich. Plant it in a sunny spot, give it space to spread, and it'll reward you all year. It's the kind of plant that makes you feel like you've cracked the code to endless greens. Next, we've got sorrel. If you love that tangy, lemony kick in your dishes, this one's a must. It's a hardy little plant, grows well in poor soil, shrugs off neglect, and keeps sprouting fresh leaves after every cut. I like tossing sorrel into salads and soups for that sharp flavor that wakes everything up. The moment you taste it, you'll understand why chefs adore it. And since it regrows on its own, you'll never run out of fresh greens. Then we've got tree kale. Imagine your regular kale, but stronger, taller, and much longer lived. This plant can keep producing for years, even through frosty winters. It looks ornamental, too. Big, silvery green leaves that make your garden look alive even in the colder months. It's nutrient-dense, reliable, and delicious. If you live somewhere with mild winters, tree kale is one of those plant once, harvest forever champions. Finally, meet Malabar spinach, a tropical climber that absolutely loves the heat. It's not a true spinach, but its thick, juicy leaves have a refreshing, slightly crisp texture. It grows beautifully up a fence or trellis, saving you space while adding a lush green wall to your garden. Perfect for warm, humid areas, and it keeps coming back stronger every season. So now, imagine having all these in your garden. Greens for soups, salads, and sautés, ready whenever you need them. No reseeding, no starting from scratch. So tell me, would you try any of these in your garden? Type yes in the comments if one of them just made your must-plant list. Now let's move underground to the root perennials. These are the plants that quietly do their work beneath the surface, storing food, energy, and resilience. You plant them once, and they'll keep showing up for years. They're the hidden treasures of any self-sustaining garden. First up, the Jerusalem artichoke, also known as sunchoke. Don't let the name fool you. It's not from Jerusalem, and it's not an artichoke. It's a type of sunflower with edible tubers that taste nutty and slightly sweet, almost like a cross between a potato and a chestnut. Once you plant a patch, it takes off. These things love to spread. In fact, they'll keep multiplying until you start giving them away to your neighbors. They're low maintenance and tolerant of poor soil. Even if you neglect them, they'll still push up those golden flowers every summer and reward you with heaps of tubers by autumn. Roast them, mash them, or slice them raw into salads. It's one of the most underrated perennials out there. Next, we've got Chinese yam, a real gem in the world of edible roots. It grows long, snake-like tubers deep underground, often stretching over 2 feet. The flavor is mild, slightly sweet, and it holds up beautifully when stir-fried or simmered in soups. This plant is a climber, so it needs a trellis or support. Once it's established, it'll come back year after year, producing more roots while the vine dies back in winter. I love that it's both ornamental and useful. You'll get lush green coverage in summer and food beneath the soil by fall. In the right conditions, you can harvest from the same patch for many years. Ah, horseradish, the fiery root that means business. This plant is nearly indestructible. You plant a single root cutting, and before you know it, it's taken ownership of that entire corner of your garden. It spreads fast, so give it a dedicated space or even plant it in a large pot to contain it. Freshly grated horseradish packs a punch that wakes up your senses. It's a fantastic perennial to have if you love bold flavors or homemade condiments. And here's the fun part. Even the tiniest bit of root left behind will sprout again the next season. It's like the plant refuses to quit no matter what. Once it's in your garden, it's there to stay, in the best possible way. And finally, taro, the tropical perennial that's loved around the world. Its thick leaves make it look like an ornamental plant, but underground it hides corms that are delicious once cooked. Taro thrives in warm, wet environments, and it's an amazing crop if you have a small waterlogged area or a pond edge in your garden. Both the roots and leaves are edible, but the leaves must be cooked properly to remove the natural calcium oxalate. Once established, taro plants can keep producing for up to 5 years without needing replanting. That's right, plant once, harvest for half a decade. And every harvest feels like uncovering buried treasure. Root perennials like these remind us that real abundance often happens quietly, under the soil, away from sight. You plant them once, and they return your effort tenfold, season after season. So tell me, which one of these would you grow in your garden? The fiery horseradish, the nutty sunchoke, or maybe the tropical taro? Let me know in the comments. I love hearing what's growing in your part of the world. Now let's move on to the heavy lifters of the perennial world, the edible shoots and stems. These plants bring fresh harvests every spring, often before most annual vegetables have even woken up. Once they're established, they'll reward you for decades with very little care. First on this list is the king of perennial vegetables, asparagus. This plant is patience and payoff in one. It takes a couple of seasons to settle in, but once it does, you can harvest tender spears every spring for 20 years or more. Think of it as your garden's long-term investment. The spears taste best when cut young, crisp, sweet, and full of life. Give it rich, well-drained soil and a sunny spot, and it'll handle the rest. Every spring, when those green tips poke through the soil, it feels like nature's way of saying, "Welcome back." Next up, bamboo shoots. Now, before you panic about bamboo taking over your garden, hear me out. Stick with clumping varieties. They stay tidy and well-behaved. These shoots are a staple across Asia, and for good reason. They're crunchy, mild, and packed with nutrients. Bamboo grows incredibly fast, often shooting up several feet in a week. Harvest the young shoots while they're still tender, boil or stir-fry them, and you've got one of the most sustainable vegetables on earth. Once planted, bamboo can feed generations if managed right. Then there's cardone, the elegant cousin of the artichoke. It's a Mediterranean perennial with edible stems that look a bit like celery, but taste faintly of artichoke hearts. It's ornamental and delicious, giving your garden a sculptural touch. Cardone thrives in full sun and dry conditions. Once mature, you simply blanch the stalks to soften them and enjoy that tender, nutty flavor. It's the kind of plant that makes people stop and ask, "What is that?" And you get to smile knowing it's both beautiful and edible. And finally, rhubarb, a backyard classic. It's bold, beautiful, and nearly indestructible. Every spring, thick red stalks push up from the crown, and you can harvest for pies, jams, or compotes for years on end. Rhubarb loves cool weather and rich soil. Once established, it needs almost no attention. The leaves are toxic, but the stalks? Tart, tangy perfection. It's one of those plants that practically announces spring's arrival. These edible shoots and stems bring your garden to life early in the season, strong, resilient, and generous. You'll never look at store-bought asparagus or rhubarb the same way again. If you're enjoying this list so far, give the video a quick thumbs up. It really helps me share these gardening secrets with more people. And tell me in the comments, which of these would you want growing in your backyard? Let's move into one of my favorite parts of the garden, the flavor boosters. These perennials might look modest, but they'll keep your kitchen stocked with the kind of freshness that no supermarket bunch can match. Once you plant them, you'll always have herbs on hand to elevate any meal, all year round. First up, the perennial onion, often called the Egyptian walking onion. This one's a bit of a show-off. Instead of seeds, it grows little bulbs at the top of its stalks. When they get heavy, they bend down, touch the ground, and plant themselves, literally walking across your garden over time. Each cluster gives you 2 harvests in one. Tender green tops you can snip for salads or stir-fries, and small underground bulbs with a mild, sharp flavor. It's strong enough to season soups and gentle enough to eat raw. Once you plant it, it multiplies on its own, spreading like a friendly invasion of flavor. Next, garlic chives, the herb that quietly works miracles in the kitchen. It looks like regular chives, but instead of that mild onion taste, it carries a garlicky punch that's smooth and fragrant. Perfect for dumplings, stir-fries, omelets, and even homemade butter spreads. What makes it even better is how resilient it is. Garlic chives grow almost everywhere, in pots, in borders, even between stones. Cut them, and they come back. Forget them, and they'll still show up next season. The flowers are edible too, with a gentle spice that brightens up salads. I call them my lazy season garlic, always ready when I'm not. Now here's one most gardeners have never heard of, Good King Henry. It's a forgotten European green that was once a staple in cottage gardens centuries ago. It's rich, earthy, and loaded with nutrients. Think of it as the old-world cousin of spinach and kale. The young shoots can be eaten like asparagus, and the leaves taste a little like spinach with a hint of wild herb. It's tough, dependable, and thrives in shady spots where other vegetables struggle. This plant deserves a comeback, not just because of its flavor, but because it's a piece of gardening history. Plant it once, and it'll quietly grow for years, returning each spring like an old friend who knows exactly when to show up. And finally, the Welsh onion, the endless scallion machine. This plant never forms a big bulb like regular onions, but instead keeps producing clusters of green shoots that you can harvest again and again. Trim a few, and they regrow within weeks. Divide a clump, and you've got a whole new patch ready to go. They grow like grass, handle frost like champs, and make the best topping for soups, noodles, or scrambled eggs. A single planting can keep you stocked for years. No reseeding, no fuss. These are the herbs that'll keep your kitchen stocked without lifting a finger. A constant supply of freshness that keeps your cooking alive. Once you have them, you'll wonder how you ever managed without. So which one of these flavor powerhouses are you adding to your garden first? Let me know in the comments. I love hearing what's growing in your kitchens and backyards. Now we're stepping into the exciting corner of the garden, the exotic and rare perennials. These are the plants most gardeners have never heard of, yet they're among the most rewarding. They're beautiful, nutritious, and guaranteed to make visitors ask, "What on earth is that?" Let's explore 4 standouts that could easily become your new garden obsessions. First, let's talk about Okinawan spinach. This plant is pure color therapy. Its leaves shimmer with deep green on top and a royal purple underside, giving your garden a beautiful contrast. It's native to Southeast Asia and is loaded with antioxidants, vitamins, and fiber. Beyond its looks, it's a powerhouse in the kitchen. The leaves have a slightly crisp, mild flavor that works well in stir-fries, soups, or eaten raw in salads. It's a low-maintenance plant that thrives in warm, humid climates, and if you trim it often, it grows denser and more productive. Once you plant it, it just keeps going. Beauty and nutrition rolled into one. Next up is Ceylon spinach, another tropical star that laughs in the face of drought. It's a vigorous climber that thrives in heat where most leafy greens wilt and give up. The leaves are thick and glossy, perfect for adding body to soups or stews, and they stay tender even when cooked. It's a fantastic choice for gardeners in warmer regions because it loves sunlight and doesn't mind a little neglect. Once it starts climbing, it'll wrap around trellises or fences, turning them into edible green walls. It's beautiful, useful, and practically unstoppable. And if you're trying to grow food in hot weather, Ceylon spinach will quickly become your go-to green. Now this one's truly special. Sea kale. It's a rugged coastal perennial that grows naturally along Europe's seashores, thriving in sandy, salty soil where most vegetables would never survive. Its bluish-green leaves have a soft, waxy texture, and both the shoots and flower buds are edible. Flavor-wise, it's delicate, somewhere between asparagus and mild cabbage. You can eat the young shoots steamed, sautéed, or even pickled. Once mature, sea kale produces beautiful white blossoms that attract pollinators, adding both beauty and function to your garden. If you live near the coast or have poor sandy soil, this plant will feel right at home. It's one of those vegetables that doesn't just survive, it thrives where others can't. Finally, meet katuk, also known as the sweet leaf shrub, one of the most protein-rich greens in the plant world. It's often called the vegetable of the tropics, and for good reason. Its flavor is lightly sweet, almost like green peas, and the leaves, young shoots, and even flowers are edible. Katuk grows best in warm and humid regions, and once established, it's practically bulletproof. It keeps producing fresh leaves all year long, and a single shrub can feed a family with consistent trimming. Nutritionally, it's incredible, packed with protein, calcium, and vitamins A and C. You can toss it into soups, stir-fries, or eat it raw in salads. It's one of the few leafy greens that actually tastes good straight off the stem. These are the exotic champions of the perennial world, colorful, resilient, and endlessly fascinating. Whether you've got tropical humidity, salty air, or scorching heat, there's something here for every kind of gardener. So be honest, how many of these have you actually heard of before? Let me know in the comments. I'm betting it's fewer than 5. Now that you've seen the list, let's talk about how to make these perennials work together in your garden. because growing them isn't just about the plants. It's about building a self-sustaining system that gives back every single year. Start by designing what I like to call a forever garden. Think of it like a mini food forest. Tall plants like asparagus or chaya at the back, mid-height greens like kale or sorrel in the middle, and low herbs like garlic chives or Welsh onions near the edges. This layering helps every plant get its share of sunlight while protecting the soil underneath. The secret to keeping these plants happy isn't complicated. Mulch well, water deeply but not often, and resist the urge to overwork the soil. Perennials like a little neglect. They're survivors, and once established, they create their own mini ecosystem. You can even pair them up for companion planting. Asparagus loves growing near chives because they help repel pests. Tree kale sits beautifully beside sorrel and rhubarb, while sea kale and horseradish make great coastal buddies. Mix them up, and your garden will start managing itself. When I first started mixing perennials into my regular vegetable patch, something changed. I wasn't planting for the season anymore. I was planting for the years ahead. Less work, more harvest, and an endless sense of discovery. So if you're ready to make your garden low maintenance but endlessly rewarding, these are your go-to plants. Before we wrap up, let's go through a few quick bonuses for you, little extras to make your gardening journey easier no matter where you live. Bonus 1 for lazy gardeners. If you're the kind of gardener who loves results without the work, start with asparagus, sorrel, and garlic chives. They practically take care of themselves. You plant once, and they'll keep returning every year, stronger and fuller. Bonus 2 for cold regions. For those in colder regions, go with tree kale, horseradish, and rhubarb. They'll handle frost like champions and bounce back as soon as spring warms the soil. Bonus 3 for dry or hot climates. If your summers are scorching and water's limited, your dream team is Chaya, katuk, and Okinawan spinach. These plants love heat and bounce right back even after a dry spell. And if you're just getting started and wondering which 3 to plant first, go with asparagus, garlic chives, and sorrel. They'll give you a strong, reliable start and keep your kitchen stocked all year. That's the magic of perennials. They reward patience with abundance. Each season gets easier, each harvest a little sweeter. And there you have it, 20 amazing vegetables that grow like fruit trees, the kind of plants that work with nature, not against it. Once you plant them, they feed you for years and teach you that real gardening is about partnership, not control. If you learned something new today, hit that like button. It really helps more gardeners discover this video. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, because next week I'll be showing you edible ground covers that can replace your lawn. Beautiful, useful, and totally low maintenance. Thanks for spending time with me in the garden today. Remember, plant once, eat forever. I'll see you in the next one.